They laughed at our rules. Until a human marine explained. The council chamber of the Galactic Concord rattled with the low buzz of dismissive laughter. Over 24 species were represented, tall, sleek Trinari with their feathered mantles, the insectoid Fash clicking their mandibles in amusement, even the ancient Dvarn High Thought Collective chimed in with telepathic ripples of derision. In the center of the chamber, glowing on a holoprojector, floated the Earth Doctrine for Planetary Engagement. A crisp, clean document, a treaty-like structure lined with strict rules of engagement, principles of proportionality, codes for dealing with civilian populations, and procedures for post-conflict reconciliation, the Dvarnes consensus thought translated clearly through the chamber speakers. Such self-imposed limitation is suicidal in wartime. The Terrans are as naive as their short lifespans suggest. Amidst the condescending murmurs, only one figure stood still, arms crossed, boots locked, jaw squared like reinforced concrete. Sergeant Logan Thorne, Human Marine Expeditionary Command, was not there to win a debate. He was there because Earth had just been granted observer status in the Concord's military alliance, and someone had to explain why humans fought the way they did. He waited for the laughter to die. When it didn't, he stepped forward and let his boot slam into the deck hard enough to echo across the chamber. "It worked. My name's Sergeant Thorne," he said, voice steady, "and you're all dead." Silence fell like a guillotine. "I read your battle doctrines. I've seen how you wage war. Mass saturation bombing. Civilian eradication for morale suppression. Automated conquest drones with zero discrimination. That's not war. That's butchery. And worse, inefficient butchery." The Dvarn ripple wave again. "Efficiency is achieved through overwhelming force." Thorne smirked. "You ever heard of Fallujah? Grozny? Mogadishu? No. Let me tell you something about humanity. We've fought like hell for every inch of peace we ever earned. Every war, every skirmish, every boot in the mud was a lesson. We didn't just survive, we refined. We made rules not because we're weak, but because we're strong enough to follow them." His voice dropped to a gravelly growl. "And when we don't? You really don't want to see what happens." Contact front. A month later, the Concorde fleet deployed to the contested moon of Zarnis 4. A planet rich in dark helium and quantum crystal, resources critical to the Concorde's faster-than-light infrastructure. The GRZZ Dominion wanted it, too. The Council dispatched a combined force, 12,000 troops across 9 species, all under Admiral Tsilner of the Trinari. Earth sent a single unit, 42 Marines. No drones. No tanks. Just boots and packs. Tsilner's orders were simple: observe. Advise. Do not engage. Sergeant Thorne and his Marines obeyed, until they saw what engagement looked like. The Concorde forces opened with planetary-wide bombardment, flattening half the continent before even confirming enemy locations. Satellite scans missed GRZZ hideouts buried deep in rock strata. When troops advanced, they faced guerrilla resistance, booby traps, tunnels, ambushes. The Concorde flailed. After the 5th unit was ambushed and eviscerated, Thorne made a call. To hell with observation. Rule 1, know your enemy. Thorne's Marines moved under darkness. No orbital strikes. No heavy artillery. Just stealth drones, seismic sensors, and boots whispering across shattered concrete. Corporal Juno tapped her tablet, pulling up GRZZ comms intercepts. They're coordinating underground, using thermal signatures and seismic tapping. Their command nodes under Sector Delta 9. Thorne nodded. All right. Let's teach these bugs what rules are. Instead of leveling the entire district, the Marines planted microseismic charges that collapsed the GRZZ tunnels with pinpoint precision. A single targeted explosion took out a command node buried 90 meters deep, with 0 civilian casualties. Tsilner's adjutant was outraged. You disobeyed orders. You didn't even confirm full combatant elimination. Thorne just handed him a data chip. GRZZ comms just went dark. Command chains decapitated. Rule 1, know your enemy better than they know themselves. The adjutant had no answer. Rule 2, protect the innocent. The Concorde's occupation plan was a disaster. Refugee zones were left unsecured. AI-controlled drones misidentified civilians as threats. Mass panic spread. That night, a GRZZ strike team used the chaos to detonate an antimatter charge near a Concorde depot, killing 3,000. Thorne's Marines had already begun food distribution in Zone C-14. They embedded translators, medics, and set up safe zones marked with Earth-standard IFF transponders. No civilians in those zones were harmed. Admiral Tsillner summoned Thorne. Why expend resources on inferior lifeforms? Your purpose was to fight, not administer aid. Thorne leaned in, because every civilian we protect becomes one less insurgent. One more voice that won't scream for our blood. Rule 2, war is fought with bullets, but won with trust. The Admiral's mandibles clacked shut. Rule 3, precision over power. The GRZZ counterattacked hard. They deployed tunneling mechs loaded with high-yield plasma warheads, suicide units designed to rupture Concorde command centers. The Concorde's response: carpet bomb entire regions. Thorne had a better idea. He tracked the heat signatures of the mechs, triangulated their points of entry, and deployed the Marines' shoulder-launched kinetic darts. No explosive warheads, just hyper-accelerated tungsten rods guided by human instinct and machine learning, each mech neutralized. Zero collateral. Why not just nuke the tunnels? Asked a Concorde officer. Thorne handed him a scope feed. See that girl playing with the doll? You'd have glassed her village to hit one mech. Rule 3, never use a hammer when a scalpel will do. The turning point. By week 4, it wasn't the Concorde fleet holding the line, it was Earth's 42 Marines. Their kill/death ratio exceeded 300 to 1. Civilian support for the Concorde surged, because of human aid efforts. GRZZ desertion spiked. Word had spread that Earth forces offered surrender protocols and medical treatment. In desperation, the GRZZ launched a planetary-wide neural jammer to disrupt Concorde comms and drone targeting. It barely affected the Marines. They trained with fallback comms, hand signals, and even analog maps. The rest of the Concorde panicked. Thorne didn't. Rule 4, he growled over shortwave to his squad, always train for failure. Because tech fails, people don't. A Marine explains. Back on the capital world, Thorne was summoned again before the council. The war was over. Zarnis 4 was secure. GRZZ forces surrendered under Earth-authored armistice terms. Now the Concorde wanted to understand how you restrict yourselves, a Dvarn delegate said. And yet, you won. Thorne stood before the same council that had laughed weeks earlier. We won because we follow rules. Because we make decisions with ethics, not just firepower. Because discipline is strength. He walked to the holoprojector and tapped a new file, Human Combat Doctrine, revised for Concorde integration. Here are Earth's rules of engagement. Follow them, and you won't just win battles. You'll build peace. You'll stop making enemies faster than you can kill them. The room was quiet. Then, astonishingly, a Trinari general stood. I request permission to embed Earth advisors with our command units. Others followed. The Dvarn even offered to integrate Earth's civilian protection protocols. The laughter was gone. Thorne only nodded. Now you understand. Legacy. Years later, the Concorde's elite force, once known for brute force, became feared for their precision, their honor, and their impossible victories. They called themselves the Iron Accord. At the center of their insignia, a human helmet etched with 4 words. They laughed. We taught.